Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cancer August 2021 Self-Connection Reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this is one of 3 connection readings that I complete for each sign each month that is meant to bring awareness both to your unique internal authentic self and how that unique internal authentic self can connect to your external environment and to those around you to be able to help you better see your place, purpose, and experience emotional fulfillment. All right, Cancer, we're going to jump right into your reading. So this is the self-connection reading. We start the month off with self-connection because it brings awareness back to ourselves. And that's really where awareness and engagement starts. It has to start with us being able to understand and appreciate our own uniqueness. Because once we can do that, then we can start to engage with our external environment through taking action and making decisions that come from a place of authenticity for ourselves. And that's the next step towards finding place and purpose. All right, so in my readings, I do utilize the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool I've developed that focuses on utilizing the 3 principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and showing how just in simply integrating those principles into your life, you can start to unlock this awareness, start to re-engage more fully and authentically with your external environment and with others to really help strengthen those interpersonal relationships. All right. So I'm going to start the reading with a Power of Surrender card. That's going to help us focus on the principle of curiosity. Now, curiosity is all about helping us open up and become receptive to whatever aspect we're directing curiosity towards. So most of the time as we get older, we start to direct curiosity towards our external environment. But there is the wonderfully powerful form of curiosity that we basically turn inward instead, and we use it as a spotlight to start to uncover parts of ourselves that perhaps we either A, haven't really experienced before, or B, need to address and bring out and start to work with again. So as we're thinking about being curious towards ourselves, and we're thinking about the concept of curiosity with working with optimism and receptivity and openness. This is really about focusing on looking at ourselves with fresh eyes. So where we can kind of lose our ability to work with curiosity in its highest form is when we kind of stop being curious. When instead of being optimistic, open, and receptive, we become pessimistic, closed, and unreceptive, meaning this is especially when we're directing it towards ourselves. This is when we can start to say, well, this is just the way I am and I can't change. And this part of myself I don't work with anymore because it kept getting me hurt. Or that's a need of mine, but I can't have that fulfilled because there's no place for that right now in my external environment. And in reality, what hope or what curiosity is meant to connect us with is the sense of hope that comes from really tapping into the magic of life, the awe and wonder that comes from that we have the ability to be continually surprised because we don't know everything. We don't know if a talent of ours that we struggled with in our early life is not meant to be brought out now, and at this point let me grab that here. And at this point, this is, what that talent was always meant to, come out into. It was this time after we had X amount of experience. And now we need to be curious and open to really why we're having some type of block around it or why we're being asked to focus on it. So that's really what this reading is about. So 2 cards came out for you, Cancer, and what's interesting is I believe one of these cards actually came out for your last reading, which is very interesting. And the fact that it's coming out again is showing a continuation of the same theme moving from July into August. So we're focusing on curiosity. So we're really utilizing this to build a question for ourselves that we're going to keep in mind throughout the month of August to continue to bring awareness to some aspect of self, so that by the end of the month, we really are opening up to some part of ourselves that needs to be worked with and needs to be connected to our external environment. So we have surrender procrastination. And it says, now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. And then we have surrender to prayer. So beautiful. I love this card. Give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard throughout the universe, and answers and support will arrive. Now, right off the bat, with these two cards together, there's this quality of fear around the procrastination. Because usually we procrastinate on moving forward on something when we're in doubt, when we fear that it's going to possibly lead to a change maybe that we don't want to face, that it might mean extra work for us, that usually when we procrastinate on something, it's because we think it's going to be difficult or lead to a change. Because the one thing that I've experienced personally, and I'm pretty sure most of us have at some point, is that humans, as much as we are highly adaptable to change, we don't like change. We fear change most of the time. And what's beautiful about change is that it keeps us growing. It keeps us continually being able to expand and to experience new things. But it also creates shakeups. It also creates that element of having to deal with the unknown. And that can be tricky. That can take us outside of our comfort zones. But here, what this is really saying is that there's some aspect of something that in your heart of hearts you've prayed for, something that you've wanted. And the universe is stepping in right now to say, it's here, but you have to take action towards it. You have to go within and deal with procrastination. Now we all, on some level, there's some aspect of our life. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna quickly. This is like falling. Let me just readjust this. Okay. There's some aspect of ourselves where, on some level, in some area, we procrastinate. Even the most, I'd say, biggest, most successful people in the world who are just go, 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 go. There's going to be some aspect of their life where they're going to procrastinate. Sometimes, for instance, that could manifest in the home life versus the work life, or reverse that. So I feel right now, really, when you're asking yourself a question to kind of unlock that awareness about yourself, the question is, where are you procrastinating right now in an area you know you need to take action on? I'll repeat that again. Where in your life are you procrastinating in an area that you know you need to take action on? And I don't mean procrastinating in like the tiniest sense, like I've been needing to vacuum downstairs and I just don't want to do it. I'm talking about procrastination on a higher level. Procrastination where it truly is coming from that place, that seat of fear, that seat of, I don't really want to, I really do want it. Praying to the universe, bring this to me, but I'm terrified. This is almost, to me, what I'm feeling for you guys is there's this fear of success. And that's kind of what I'm getting here between these two cards, is there's this fear of success, this fear of everything that you've prayed for is coming in. But success oftentimes, which includes the things you've been asking for coming in, can require more work right off the bat in the moment. So this could look like you've been asking for a brand new house and a move, a geographic move. And suddenly you had this ability. You got the house, you are going to be moving, 2 states over, and suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But you're procrastinating on the fact that this is happening now. Maybe you bought the house and you are planning to move in 2 months, but you haven't done the necessary steps towards bringing this fully in for yourself, making it real. Like looking at yourself and getting all the boxes checked, so to speak, of, okay, well, have I lined up movers? Okay, do I have insurance? Okay, do I know where to get furniture from? It's like all these little things that are going to now, it's like, yes, you've been able to successfully achieve this big goal, but before you get to that finish line, there's all of these little things that need to be done. When it says now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off, taking action will attract success. So it's more about just starting to do those little things, not looking at it as this crazy, like monstrous, like, oh shoot, what did I get myself into? Looking at it more like, okay, this is awesome. This is my prayer answered. And sometimes in the moment, if you're feeling stressed and you're feeling overwhelmed, simply just praying, simply just asking for assistance to say, where should I start? And what will come through, in Cancer, you're a sign that's connected to your intuition. So you are able to kind of ask that question to yourself and be able to get the answer that comes in. Now, this could also look like you've been procrastinating around maybe taking a course that once you finalize that course, you'll have a certification that will open you up to the next level of success in your professional life. And you've wanted this area, you wanted this level of success, you've prayed for this change perhaps in your professional work environment, you now found some way to do this affordably, you have the time for it, and you're not doing it. Why? Because it's maybe difficult. Maybe you started it and you realized, oh my gosh, this course is requiring a lot. It's requiring something of me I haven't done in a while. Maybe it's requiring you to write a 5-page paper and you haven't written anything more than a sticky note or laundry list on the fridge or journaled or something along those lines. And now suddenly you're thrown back into your high school years of, oh shoot, I have to do what? I have to create footnotes? It's that kind of thing where suddenly, even though we're presented with the opportunity that's going to bring in what we're asking for, we're holding off. And yet, deep down inside, every day that goes by that we're not addressing that issue, it's every day that we feel this kind of heaviness. We feel this, I know I need to do something. I know I need to take advantage of this opportunity. I know this is what I want, but I have to vacuum and I have to do my laundry and I have to go to the grocery store. And this is where we start to kind of we try to distract ourselves in the day-to-day. But I do think it's interesting that this card specifically, the surrender procrastination, did come up in one of your readings in July. So if you want to go check out one of the past readings, I think this is a continuation of that same message. That basically right now, Cancer, you guys are really being pushed to unlock some aspect of self right now that is going to bring in success. And there is a little bit of this fear around success, a little bit of this fear around it might all come down to you. That maybe this fear, and this is a kind of the second part of the question to ask yourself as you start to identify what aspect of self you are procrastinating on, specifically out of a place of fear, but yet you also know you want it at the same time. There's this element of the second half of that question is then, okay, so what if I do get success in this area? What is that going to look like? And where am I building in Perhaps instead of the beautiful version of curiosity, which is the positive, optimistic thought patterns of what if? Well, what if I do get successful and suddenly my income doubles overnight? Or what if I move into this house and suddenly I have 5 times as much space? What if I, fill in the blanks of whatever you're holding yourself back from? What if all of a sudden now I'm the breadwinner? Or what if all of a sudden now I move into this new career and it's going to require a whole new level of like a learning curve, that even though it might elevate me monetarily, I now have to know that I will have to go back to maybe working 50 or 60 hours a week. And what's that going to look like to me? And to start asking yourself these questions, to start kind of breaking through the fear that's associated with success. And I know because I've struggled with this myself. There is this quality around, oftentimes people think that it's the fear of failure that holds people back. And more times than not, it's actually the fear of success because of how much change success can actually create. Where failure can also create change, but failure oftentimes can just bring us back to kind of square one where we were before. It almost brings us back to a baseline, where success can bring us to a place where we've never experienced before. And that can be very scary. That's where we are looking at the edge, or we're trying to look down the road and we can't see. With failure, there's this element of like, well, I might lose the money I already have. Or I might have to go back to a job I've previously worked. Or I might have to downsize in a house, but to a size I've already lived in. Where success is the opposite. Success is growth and expansion. And that involves us going into the unknown. We don't know what expansion looks like. We can fantasize, use our imagination, but ultimately, we don't know what it would look like for the business idea we have to actually be successful. We don't know if that means more time on our plate, less time on our plate, doubling our salary, quadrupling our salary, bringing in just a smidge more. Like there's this quality to that and then there's that element of like, well, what if I did quadruple my salary? Well, then what? What does that look like as far as for taxes? What does that look like as far as how my living situation will change? What does that look like as far as now how am I beholden in a different way to, work and what I'm doing? Or in the home life, same kind of thing. Maybe my idea of success is to start this family. And all of a sudden you're pregnant and, you have the family life all kind of like bubbling up in front of you. And it's like, well, I've never had a child before. What is that going to look like? What kind of mama or dad am I going to be? And what's that going to look like as far as like keeping a family unit together? And suddenly you're having to use your imagination, but you can't really predict what's going to happen. So the element of having a fear around success is very real. And a lot of people don't realize that they think they actually are afraid of failure. And in reality, it's the fear of success. It's the fear of I might have to put in a little extra effort. And then what will that end up looking like? What will that grow into? And what if it grows so far beyond my ability to keep up with it? And this is where you have to realize that Spirit is here to help. And that they're really pushing you right now to unlock that part of yourself, to face that element of whatever you want, to face that procrastination, because this is going to unlock the next chapter. We are all on a path of growth and spiritual evolution. And this is really where we get the chance in these moments to really experience that emotional fulfillment that comes through purpose. That comes through seeing, wow, like this is my meaning. Becoming a parent is something I could never have imagined, and it is so emotionally fulfilling on such a high level that I've never felt this before. Or start, moving into this career path based off of this certification. It's bringing me so much fulfillment because I realize now I've always belonged in this career field. And I didn't even realize that with the certification, I could also do this, this, and this. And that's the beauty of opening ourselves up to that next higher level of change. So, where are you procrastinating? Don't forget to fall back on prayer, and that really, look at fear around success. Okay. So Cancer, now we're going to move into courage. And courage is where we get to connect with our seat of self-empowerment. So I'm going to pull an spirit animal oracle card here to give us a little advice as to really stepping into that place of courage and being able to make that decision to take action on behalf of your authentic self. So what does that mean? So as you're being curious about, perhaps what you're procrastinating on and stepping into the successful change in your life that you know is coming, now it's about finding the courage to continue to take action. It's not enough to just know and be aware. We have to take action to actually then engage this part of ourselves, engage with it, and bring it out so that it can engage with our external environment. So this is where we get a chance then to, in the little decisions we make every day, and in the little choices we get towards taking action, we get then to bring in this part of ourselves. So this would look like, let's say, this is you procrastinating on finishing that certification course. Well, this is you every day when you are faced with that maybe half an hour of free time to sit there and tell yourself, okay, is this the time that I use to do some small tasks like vacuum or make a phone call to a friend, or is this the time that I use to sit down to go online and take another part of that course? And this is where we start to align ourselves with making decisions that keep us engaged with ourselves. This is where we take awareness one step further. This could also look like you just simply being more aware of yourself in general, and each time you're here to make a decision, you just check in with yourself and say, well, what holds more meaning for me in this moment? So let's say you are during the week invited to go out to dinner with friends, but that was the night that you were planning on getting online and finishing a part of your certification course. Well, then this is where you have to check in with yourself and say, is connecting with others tonight more important than my certification course, or is my certification course more important? Now, I can't make that decision for you. In the moment, it could be that you need to connect with others, and you're going to feel that. But this is how I'm trying to show you how courage can come in, and this is, where taking action from a place of authenticity and not just making kind of blind commitments or blind decisions, or taking action from a place of a lack of awareness. How this can actually change, again, how healthily you connect and grow your inner self. So if you decide, I know I'm aware that I need to finish my certification course, but I'm also aware that I'm feeling a little lonely and I need that pick-me-up and that pep from being around people, well, in that moment, I'm going to make the decision that hanging out with people tonight, my friends, means more to me than, putting off this class for one more night, as long as I know that I can hold myself accountable the next evening to working on that. And this is where we start to build in meaning to our life. When people, get to that point where I don't have any meaning. Well, It's finding meaning in the small things, because only you are living your life. And so at any given point, you need to be enjoying that. Okay, let's see here. Way too many cards came out. Like half the deck came out. Let me see if we can break this down to just one. What does Cancer need to know about taking action? Taking action this month. Here we go. Okay. So we have three cards that came out. All right. So we have Flamingo Spirit. And it's number 26, breaking down to a number 8, which is about self-empowerment. It says, embrace the in-between. And then we have Bobcat Spirit. It says, life is a mystery, with the number 8 again. Very interesting. And then we have Deer Spirit, bring in a gentle touch, with the number 18 breaking down to the number 9. So we have 2 8s and a 9 here. Very interesting. So right off the bat, I'm getting this Flamingo Spirit, embrace the in-between, with the number 26. There is a quality here. You know, one of my favorite tarot readers, and I think she's far more than a tarot reader. I really do feel as she's a philosopher. Aquarian Insight. She's actually a British tarot reader. She's fantastic. If any of you guys have seen any of her stuff or listened to any of her stuff. But she talks about kind of this and that are true. And there is this quality about embrace the in-between, where that's just coming to my mind at this point, where a lot of times we try to make this or that true. And at any given time, both can be true. We can be, this would look like us being in transition, where maybe we are transitioning between 2 different career paths, or we're transitioning between 2 different, I'd say, periods in our life, moving from maybe a single life into a married and, family life, or that we, when we're kind of thinking about being in between, this can also be where we are just in a learning phase in our life in general, where we're just going through these more, I'd say, kind of learning lessons of trying to figure out, okay, I was here, but now I'm changing. Want to try this out or try that out instead. And it doesn't mean that one aspect is bad or good, that you have to leave this aspect because now it's bad, and you have to move towards this aspect because it's good. Or that single life is bad and married life with a family is better, or vice versa. It's about that both are true, and both are also part of you. But as you move and grow, it's not that you lose a part of yourself, it's that you're continually growing and expanding on yourself. So who you were as a child is still a part of you today, but you've just continued to grow on top of it. But what can happen is that we become disconnected from that realization. We feel that somehow old parts of ourselves have to be hit. Like that was me then. That was the weak version of me, or that was the needy version of me, or that was the codependent version of me. And it's like, no, that's still also part of you. It's a part of you in the lessons learned, that as soon as you brought awareness to the fact that you had an issue with codependent relationships, and now you've since grown and evolved from that, well, that's still a part of you, but now it's a more evolved part of you. And so there's this quality here of kind of, it's almost like, again, there's this element of, well, what if I do move over here? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be good? And instead it says, no, just embrace the in-between for right now. Just be okay with the fact that things are changing. Be okay that you are who you are, but that you're moving towards something new that is going to involve change. And embrace this time in between where you can continue to take action. This is that moment where you get to combine what you know with basically faith in the future. And that's really what courage taps us into. Because when we decide to take action and make that decision, we're tapping into faith that it will have a positive outcome. And that we also tap into a level of faith that the more we work and make decisions from a place of work with ourselves and make decisions from a place of authenticity, that we are working in alignment with destiny and the universe and the greater design, and that we will be supported. So there's this element of tapping into awe and wonder with curiosity, and faith with courage. And that faith is just know that right now you're in that in-between phase and you're moving forward. So just keep taking the little actions. And number 26, breaking down to an 8, is really about self-empowerment. It's really about bringing in that extra element of, for me, it's interesting. I see colors associated with numbers. Always have. It's just a strange thing with myself. But I always see the number 8 associated with the color orange. And the color orange is frequently associated with the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra for me is about the seat of kind of, yes, I know there's a solar plexus and that's kind of the seat of personal power and the ego. But I also look at the sacral chakra as being integral to really being your seat of personal power, because it's your ability to create. It's your place of creativity. And so if you think about where the sacrum is, it's this kind of in the womb area for a woman. So it's the ability to literally create, but it's also it's the chakra that helps us identify our ability to create from a place of authenticity. And so there is that kind of component here with both of these cards really highlighting that number 8 of coming back to your personal power through what you can create. And creativity starts with taking action. We can want to create a beautiful painting all we want, or create a family all we want, or create a change in our professional life all we want. But if we don't actually dive into courage to take the action, to take the steps to move towards that, well, then we're not actually creating anything. We're just imagining something. We're just fantasizing about something. So curiosity is where we build on, courage is where we build on curiosity. So we have Bobcat spirit, life is a mystery. And I think that this is beautiful as well, because it's showing we don't know what's around the bend. We don't know, and that's why it takes courage to take action, because we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict that. All we can control is our choice to take the action and then take it. But what happens is once we do that, then we have to, through faith, put it into the hands of the unknown, of our external environment, because we can't control other people and we can't control our external environment. We can't control the reactions that happen. And so there is this quality here of, when you think about life as a mystery, that's beautiful. It's looking at life from the lens of awe and wonder that comes from curiosity, that says life is a mystery. And wouldn't it be crazy and you trying to take the certification course and you following this new career path, that it leads to this incredible level of success to the likes of which you could not have even understood, because life is a mystery. Same thing with starting a family, that you had no idea that becoming a parent was going to affect you on this level, or open you up to some new aspect of self that is going to revolutionize how you live your life from this point forward. And then we have Deer Spirit. It says, bring a gentle touch. Number 18. And the number 18 breaks down to the number 9. The number 9 for me is a culmination of, it's basically a culmination of a cycle. And it's the number that allows us to really tap into everything that we've learned up to this point, and to kind of tap into the magic that, okay, we've learned all these things, we've gained all of this experience. Now what can we do with it? It's basically going from the in-between to say, okay, I've learned all of this stuff. Now I'm here. I know I can do more with it, but what is that? And this is where you start to take action. You start to work with what you've learned. And when it says bring a gentle touch, I feel that that is really about just taking action in small ways and without, I think sometimes we feel, myself included, at certain points in my life, that when we're moving towards a goal, it has to be like all or nothing. gotta go and if it doesn't happen like this in this amount of time, then it's not gonna work out, and I'm gonna have to back off from it. And there's this, or I'm gonna have to convince somebody that what I want to do is right, or I'm gonna have to convince somebody that the actions I'm taking are necessary. And in reality, it's like, no, the more you just make small decisions based on your own authenticity, the more the universe starts to kind of open up to you, and the more you consistently start to work from a place of confidence. And when we work from a true place of confidence, we don't have to push our viewpoints on others. We don't have to convince others that we're right, or that the actions we're taking are in alignment with ourselves, or the better choice to make. People just see who we are through our actions, and they start to accept that. And that's what starts to then open up more opportunities that are suited specifically for us. And it also brings in people that are suited specifically for us. So this is really kind of showing me that there's this quality here. And Cancer, again, you are, the sign of the crab. You guys you have this hard exterior, but you kind of tend to retract a little bit and hide inside sometimes. And I think for you, it's about realizing that you can come out of that shell, and you don't have to be all claws and pinchers at anybody who's getting in your way. Instead, you could just say, I'm just going to keep taking action towards this goal of mine. I'm going to embrace where I am now. I'm not going to try to force this to go faster than it's meant to be, because I'm learning as I go. And I'm going to just stay optimistic and positive that life is a mystery, and it's kind of crazy that I have this opportunity now of growth in a new area. And I'm excited to see where this is going to take me. I'm not going to be afraid. And I'm just going to go there with this kind of gentle, almost peaceful knowing of this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And when I find that I'm lacking a little bit in the courage area, I'm going to fall back on praying, on just asking for help, asking for guidance from within. All right, and for the last principle of contemplation, I jumped right out there. We are going to pull an oracle card here. So we have Council of Light. And it says divine orchestration helpers in the subtle realms. Beautiful. And really lines up with the surrender to prayer. And I really feel here that you guys are being truly divinely guided. That it may be scary. It may, going into the unknown is scary. But I feel like you guys are leveling up, Cancers. I really feel like you're getting to this point of really coming back into this place of internal knowing, tapping into your superpower of your intuition, working with that, and that you're being pushed right now to make that expansive spiritual and emotional evolutionary step that then is going to manifest and affect your other two areas of your experience, which are the physical and the mental, which is going to then manifest as true success and abundance in your external environment, as well as a change in perspective of what success looks like, of how you are capable of success, as well as your own belief in yourself. So there is this quality here of divine orchestration, that the timing right now is lining up, that you're being pushed, and yes, you might be a little resistant because that's scary, but now is the time. There's a lot of change going on in our external environment, especially with the pandemic, but just in general, we're going through a time of change. We are more globally connected now than ever, and I think that that is really pushing us as a collective human experience to really start to look at what that means for us. And that will also mean that on an individual basis, certain people are being called up to really fulfill almost like what I would consider change maker roles, true leadership roles. In Cancer, you are a cardinal sign. You are kind of meant as part of your superpower to step up into these more leadership type roles because you kind of bring in that archetypal energy, especially working with your emotions. Of being able to show what it looks like when you follow your emotions, when you feel into your decisions. And that's really what I'm feeling you're meant to kind of demonstrate to others in following now perhaps this next part of your evolutionary growth. You are moving towards what feels like you're basically tapping into your intuition, and you're moving towards what feels right for you, what you feel you're being called into. But you have to do it. And you can't be afraid of success. You can't be afraid of that change, because that change is what is actually going to continue to open up and unlock that part of yourself that's going to make you feel like this is my purpose. I see it. All right, Cancer, I'm going to leave it there. Again, great message. I really think it's building on last month's messages. So if you want to find, I think I actually titled it Stop Procrastinating or something like that. So if you want to find that and watch that video, you can. I hope you've enjoyed this and found it illuminating. Next week you will have a spiritual connection reading, and the following week you will have a love connection reading. All these readings are kind of meant to be taken as a holistic look at awareness for the month. So I do, just recommend watching all three. The love connection reading is a little bit more freeform. We do look at the romantic element of love. We also look at love as a general energy and just how well you're connecting interpersonally to others. And we look at any blocks that might be stopping you from feeling that supportive energy that comes with being in flow with the energy of love. If you'd like to book a tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. Also, if you do not find a service that you like, meaning you want to book a tarot reading but you don't see, something that's specific to you, go ahead and in the notes as you're booking, just write what you'd like the reading to focus on, and I will make sure that your reading focuses on that aspect of yourself. All right. Bye, all my lovely Cancers. See you next reading.